Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Huge victory for Donald Trump. We'll get to that in a second. If you want to talk about anything from the economy, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, that everything would tank in September of 2021. Did I not do that? Read my Federalist article as well. In October of 2021, I said we were going to tank in terms of the stock market, in terms of the economy, and unfortunately, that was pretty spot on and accurate. Hit subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, to my super chat. If you enjoy these segments and you want to discuss any topic, let me know via super chat. Your super chat support is greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a huge victory for Trump, and here's why it's a huge victory. He doesn't have to sign any declaration or document, or he doesn't have to go under oath stating that, well, he's certain that the Federal Bureau of Investigation planted any documents. You're talking about a government agency full of people who have only contempt for Trump. Oh, by the way, I have a new short, and it's Trump never worked with Russia, and you get to hear Robert Mueller himself. So there's Robert Mueller right there on the short. Trump never worked with Russia. Mueller found nothing. It's almost at 1,000 views already. Go ahead, share that everywhere. Hit subscribe again to this channel. Hit subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel, the Stock Market Crash channel. If you want to give a super thanks to those shorts, greatly appreciated. And of course, a super chat here is greatly appreciated as well. We can talk about any topic you'd like, especially yet another victory for Trump against the entire planet. The entire planet is desperate to get this man. Or I should say the entire American political system is desperate to get this man. It ain't working, though. Eric, hello. I, Caroline, hello. Sir Felix, hello. Ed from Queens. Everybody here, hello. Cheryl, hello. They're desperate to get this man. It's not working. Let's go ahead and read this really quickly. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where they're not going to be able to indict Trump on this because he's a former president. But here, Florida federal judge Eileen Cannon on Thursday rejected a request from the special master she appointed to review documents seized from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate to have Trump's legal team verify that the government's inventory log of seized items is accurate. How can you verify the inventory log if perhaps you don't know exactly what they took? Or perhaps you don't know if there's 200,000 pages or 11,000 documents, okay? And an attorney, let's just say an attorney reads all 11,000, but they're human, and there's one or two documents. Let's say, for example, the Federal Bureau of Investigation adds some kind of top secret document, and it falls through the cracks. They don't realize that the attorneys don't see it. It's one page, and then they use that one page to go after Trump. And then in the trial, when they try to indict him on being a former president and having every right to have that classified data, he wasn't Secretary of State. See, here's the problem: he had every right to own those documents. And if he declassified everything just through verbal declassification, according to Politico, then he had the right to own the documents. But if there's one or two or three or four documents out of 11,000, and they say there's 200,000 documents taken, if there's one or two or three documents that fall through the cracks, and then Trump is on record as saying, well, everything is accurate, that could hurt him legally. So why would he have to do that? It was a haphazard, public relations stunt. They came in, they took everything they could, and it's not like Trump knows exactly what's in all 15 boxes, okay? You don't know if you're leaving your apartment, you're not exactly sure, of everything within a box that you're within these boxes that you're packing. Somebody else could have packed them. You might say, "Oh, well, there's that, birthday card that I haven't seen in a long time." It's like these people make a big deal about classified data now, but they forget that number one, he was president and he could declassify anything at will. And in the description section of my segments, I explain that. Okay. And there are articles saying that the Supreme Court has backed that up. A president can declassify at will. A president can declassify. A president can decide what can actually classify, decide what's classified, what's not classified, and he could do so at will. And so you have a situation where they took 200,000 documents according to um, Trump's lawyers. Okay, 200,000 documents. I'm not exactly sure if he knows like what every page of those documents entail. I don't think President Obama has read his 30 million pages of unclassified documents. All right, so you have a situation where they're not even certain of what the crime is. Let's just continue because they're just not even certain of what the crime is. To my viewers in Florida, Eric H526, God bless you. Stay safe. I know there's a lot of, just a lot of very frightening, the hurricane and everything. So just stay safe and God bless you. I hope all is as well with the viewers who are watching. Judge Cannon ruling again hands yet another process win to Trump's legal team, which will now no longer face the same timeline to state on record whether they would dispute any of the items listed on the government's detailed inventory. Um, again, the government's it's almost impossible for Trump to say, "Oh no, I didn't have two or three or four of those documents within the 11,000." Okay, just by virtue of the volume, they say 200,000 pages within the 11,000 documents or so. Um, the 11,000 documents, according to Trump's lawyers, consist of 200,000 pages. You could easily add or introduce a number of documents where Trump would be like, "Well, I'm not certain." If he has to be on record, then that's a whole big legal dispute. But here's the issue. They could have already indicted him for removing classified data. They can't because he's a former president. Okay? That's the issue here. And the real story, if you go on MSNBC or CNN, you read the comments section, they're talking about Republicans being extreme, Trump being a menace to democracy. These are all like esoteric, um, like these are things that really have nothing to like philosophical, uh, ideological statements based on the sensibilities of morally superior liberal Democrats. They're not looking at the market tanking. Now, when it was at 32, 33, 34, I told you it would go way below 30,000. It's going below 30,000 the Dow. The Nasdaq has been crushed. The S&P will go way lower. Corporate profits will decline. And I was telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, did I not predict all of this? Okay. We can just I'll do a here. Um, how often did I say the stock market would crash during the average week? So here, let me just ask you this, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit self-serving, but I mean, I want not just my viewers, if you're watching, how often, if you watch this channel, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this channel, if you've watched since, so there, there you go. How often did I say the stock market would crash uh, during the average week? Oh, I should have said start during the average starting in September, the average week starting in September 2021. So more than 5 times a week. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just about every day since the beginning of the year. Exactly. So, and even and September and October, I started more than 5 times a week. And I told everyone this, and I kept saying this would take place. I kept saying this would take place. Here, we'll do a different poll. We'll do a different poll, ladies and gentlemen. How many? Oh, I'm writing it in the. I know somebody must. Oh my God, he's so conceited. He's so conceited. It's like people are watching for a reason. How many times since September of 2021 did I say the stock market would crash on my 3 channels? Let's say over 50 or 50 to 1,000 times. Ed from Queens. Why are metals so down in your opinion? I think it's because um because of the recession fears, Ed. So they think over seven easy on 720. Thank you. Thank you. So so there you go. It's like Robert John, awesome. Ed from Queens. I think it's due to the reason that oil prices are low because of recession, the demand, the belief that demand will subside because of recession fears, interest rates going up. So I didn't even write that poll question correctly, but like I must have said it hundreds of times. Exactly, Sir Felix, 2 times for exactly. And so I think Ed, the interesting thing is you have we have a recession and demand is plummeting because of recession, but at the same time you have Democrats going to battle with the oil and gas industry. And then you have Europe in a recession, but winter is around the corner. So winter is around the corner and you're going to need oil and gas, not only for commerce and transportation, but to heat your homes. See, the interesting thing is the people who pontificate and preach the most about climate change, about renewables, don't realize they're ignorant and they don't realize that a small percentage of the U.S. economy and global economy is fueled. A small percentage of the energy that runs the global economy and the U.S. economy is renewables. It's like less than 10%, about 10 or 12%. Okay, and solar and wind are not reliable, and you need solar, you need sun, and you need wind, and that's not always going to take place every single day. You can always derive energy from fossil fuels. They work 24/7. And it's really unbelievable because, Ed, you have a situation now where even in a recession, like a normal recession, You might say, well, look, we're going to come out of this because maybe there was a dot-com bubble, or maybe there was a slowdown in the economy for some reason, okay? There's never been a recession where um, there has never been a recession, ladies and gentlemen, where where countries throughout the world, have shut down economic activity. Okay, there has never been a recession where countries throughout the world have shut down economic activity, and that's just very, very bizarre that we would see that, where we would see countries throughout the world, the United States of America, actually tell businesses to no longer function. I mean, it's completely not only unheard of, it's like this truly dystopian type of nightmarish situation. Like, when did you ever think, ladies and gentlemen, that when did you ever think we would be in a situation where we'd have food shortages in the United States of America? Here you have grocery shortages of butter. This is Biden's America. This is why Democrats are like so extreme. Republicans are so extreme. They're so extreme. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're so extreme. And it's like, what is extreme about wanting a good economy? Trump doesn't have to accept anything. He doesn't, just like Democrats didn't accept that Trump defeated Clinton in a you know, legitimate manner. They blamed Russia for, and watch the latest short. So watch the short on this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go ahead and put that in the, and then you have tactical nukes that we're worried about now in Europe. I mean, you're dealing with tactical nukes. Mark Smith, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Ed and Mark, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the here's the short. So Lord, I can't even see the so you're dealing now with food shortages, ladies and gentlemen. Food shortages. Okay, when was the last time you said to yourself, and there's the link, ladies and gentlemen, to the actual short. That should be a link to the short right there. But just go on the homepage and you will see. If you go on the homepage, uh, you will see the short. But ladies and gentlemen, when was the last time you thought about the U.S. experiencing Ed from Queens? Any moment, Rod Serling will pay. Exactly. Exactly. When was the last time you thought that we would have food shortages in this country? Food shortages in this country. Okay? And so the thing is, like, you have to ask yourself, why is this the case? Why is this the case? Maybe it's because Democrats caused all of this. What is the rebuttal? Mark and Ed, what is the rebuttal? I would like to know what the rebuttal is. What is the response? And do not actually debate anybody. But what is the response to the average MSNBC and CNN viewer? How do they respond to the reality that this is happening under mashed potato brains Joe? This is happening under a Democrat in the Oval Office. This is happening under Democrats in the House and the Senate. Why would you vote in midterms for a prolonged recession? Because Their obsession with climate change, which is a serious issue. But see, again, it was a serious issue 2 years ago. You did not have to tank the United States economy. You just did not have to tank the United States economy. There was no reason, absolutely no reason, to end economic activity. It did nobody any good, and it didn't work throughout the world. Now we have food shortages and tactical nukes, possibly, that could go off in Europe. Why would you vote for this? This isn't just like, oh, well, it's a global phenomenon. Yes, you imbecile, because everyone around the world did exactly what Democrats and experts and the highly educated and the morally superior told them to do. Shut down economies. And so you shut down the economy because you were told to do so. There was zero ability, because any information they don't like is called mistype of information. Okay, we'll leave it at that. They never say false. They never say it's something that's not true. They say, well, this is information in the form of a different viewpoint that we don't like. So because we don't like this viewpoint, we call it a big problem. Okay? The reality, though, is that you have Democrat you have the reality is that you have two choices during the midterms. Two choices. Okay? You can vote for a prolonged recession and have food shortages eventually next year, because this is going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. Here we have, let's see, recession. Ken Griffin says U.S. recession is inevitable. I was saying this last year on this channel. My channel is devoted to politics, not the stock market, the economy. But I've transformed a bit of the channel, and I started another channel just on um, just on the economy and the stock market, and I've been spot on. I've been spot on. And it's like, you look, ladies and gentlemen, and you have a situation where people would rather have a recession. You have to understand something. The morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats who watch Jimmy Kimmel at night and who watch Jimmy Kimmel at night and read The Atlantic and listen to CNN and MSNBC for their news, they would rather have a recession with a housing market that's tanking, with Europe experiencing now the possibility, God forbid, of tactical nukes. And then they say, well, it's a global thing. Well, let me ask you a question. What political side reveres the alliance in Europe? It's not Trump Republicans, it's Democrats. What political side would want to negotiate a treaty or an end to hostilities, or would have negotiated with the two countries now in a never-ending quagmire? Yes, the invasion was wrong, of course, but you knew what was taking place. Biden and his bumbling band of buffoons, mashed potato brains and bumbling Blinken and everybody there, they knew. And all we heard every day is, U.S. Intel says, U.S. Intel says that we are, U.S. Intel says that there's an invasion about to take place in about any time now. Yeah, there were soldiers at the border. Okay, we already knew that. We already knew that. We understood that. We already understood that there were soldiers there. We already understood that. Why didn't they negotiate some kind of peace treaty before the hostilities took place? Ed from Queens, um, are you reviewing an Outer Limits episode, or this really happened? Yeah, that's what we're living. Love trucks. They are certainly depressing me. It is all doom and gloom on MSM. I mean, you look, we have tactical nukes right here, right here, and these are this is a situation that is love trucks. Thank you again. Yeah, it's Ed from Queens, but they don't put the if it was Trump, they would, oh my god, they'd blame Trump. Oh my god, they would blame Trump. They would blame Trump. They would say, "Oh my god, it's his fault. It's his fault. Oh my god." Um and they would say everything is Trump's fault. But with Biden, they don't say that the economy, the stock market, crime, inflation, uh, God forbid, tactical nukes in Europe, all of these things, it's never their fault. Don't you understand? It's just never their fault. It is just never, ever, ever their fault. They never put two and two together. It's just they'll deal with recession because Trump is extreme. He's extreme, don't you know? He's just so extreme. And it's like you have a choice. I keep saying you have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. Going into midterms, you have a choice. You can choose an economic recession going into an economic depression. Yeah, but you know what though? You might not like his people might not like his person, but he's a good president though. I'll take a clown who presides over record. I would like to have money. So if you say like this person's a clown, I'd rather have a clown that actually presides over a great economy rather than the clown who slurs his speech that we have currently. I'd rather have a good economy. I'd rather have the highest ever household median income in 2019. Okay? I'd rather have all of those things, but you can't lock him up because he didn't do anything. On the contrary, you could with Clinton or Hunter. If the rebuttal is Trump is a clown, give me a clown. I will totally take that over mashed potato brains we have now. Trump is a clown. So, I'm going to I would rather have less money and have the wonderful person we have now. It's like, at what point do you just say, like, let's put it this way. I'm not a fan I'm not a fan of Biden. But if he had a great economy, I'd be like, look, he has a great economy. If he had a great foreign policy, I'd be like, look, he has a great foreign policy. I'd be like, you know what? There's really nothing that I can say. There's really nothing that I can say to disparage, Biden if he was a good president like Trump. And then they say, well, Trump is a clown with a low IQ. It's like, okay. And what we had. We had record highs in household median income. I'll be a clown too, but I want a great economy. We had a great economy with Trump. This is a fact. There's like no rebuttal for it. The only rebuttal is, you're stupid, HA. Or Trump is an imbecile. He's a criminal. Well, what did he do? I want to know what he did because it's been 7 years. It's like that meme from the Titanic. It's like that meme. It's been 84 years. What did Trump do? Aside from, we had a great economy. Wow, let's look right here. We'll go from tactical nukes to CNN household median income. Right here. Household median income 2019. Median income hit record high in 2019 before Democrats tanked the U.S. economy. Trump was president. We had record low in poverty. We now have poverty at close to 15%. The poverty rate fell to 10.5% in 2019, the lowest since records started. But Trump is mean, and he said mean things, so we can't have good things. We can't have a good economy. Trump is mean. Don't you understand? They cheat Bernie Sanders. And then Bernie Sanders, oh, thank you, I have another. Thank you. You cheated me so good. I wish that I could have had Trump's economy. But instead we have mass poverty, which is exactly, I guess, what I want. Food shortages, inflation at 8 to 9%. We had inflation at 2%. Household median incomes were up. The lowest poverty rate on record. The highest household median income. End of debate. No more debate. And then when you hear Democrats, they hear that, that's cringe. Oh, that's cringe. Cringer. That's cringe. What's cringe is the inability to actually care about the economy. We had policies that worked. You didn't like his tax cuts? Well, they resulted in the highest ever household median income on record, the highest since 1967, but it was the highest on record. The first when they were recorded since 1967, the lowest poverty rate. Now we have median incomes tanking into the toilet. Now we have recession, food shortages, inflation, housing debacle, tactical nukes in Europe. What did this man do to you? You were watching The Apprentice not long ago. You would have embraced his rear end, Democrats. You did. You did. He was on like a million cameos. He was in music videos, rap songs. He was everywhere. Democrats love Trump. But then he did things his way, like Frank Sinatra. He said, nah, I'm not going to worship these. I'm not going to worship climate change treaties that force economies to do certain things. He said, nah, I'm not going to do that. And we ended up doing better than a lot of those economies there in terms of climate change. And now Biden is pumping up strategic petroleum reserves. Yeah, and how's median income now? Where is it at now? Way lower than 68,700. Can't have everything. Can't have inflation at 8 to 9% with a recession and median income's up at record highs also. Doesn't work that way. Go look at the median incomes now. It's plummeted. You can go to the St. Louis Fed. Can't have, at a certain point, Democrats have to look in the mirror and say, we fail at everything. They look in the mirror and say, we are failures, but the only thing propping us up is Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, The Atlantic, Mother Jones, The Nation, MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, New York Post, Washington Post, BuzzFeed, Rolling Stone, Esquire, Vice, New Yorker, New York Magazine, Time Magazine, Los Angeles Times, Arizona Republic, Atlantic Journal-Constitution. Everybody in politics, almost everybody, is a wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrat who doesn't care that Hunter and his emails have bribery, kickback schemes, felonies, all of these things. Okay? How can you use your influence on the company's behalf? I mean, it's right there. It's right there. How can you use your influence on the company's behalf? Then he forces out a prosecutor, but then Trump is impeached. He's impeached twice, not even for a crime. They couldn't even find a crime. No, okay, here is substance right here. Household median income, 68,700. It is not 68,700 now. It is not. Okay? Poverty is up, believe it or not. So I am pointing to the CNN, the trusted name in news. The trusted name in Trump. Trump's going to jail. Trump's going to prison. He's going to prison one day. One day, we don't know when. But Hillary did commit crimes. And then watch the short on this channel. No reasonable prosecutor would indict. You know how it is. I'm waiting for Trump to find an FBI director to say no reasonable prosecutor would indict him. That would be fantastic. Democrats wouldn't like that. I'm reading from a CNN article right here. We have the lowest poverty on record, the highest household median income on record. This is a terrible economy. This is a terrible economy. The market is crashing. We have food shortages here. Butter, scarcity of food, of baby formula. Let's see. Here, beer, ketchup, baby formula, sriracha. Okay, all under Biden. Okay, of course, it's not his fault. It's actually Trump because he's extreme. All right. Highest ever household median income. I mean, it's right there. Recession. We didn't have a cataclysmic recession with Trump. That was a self-induced insanity by people who said, we have to tank everything to keep you safe. And then there was inflation. So, Zook, thank you, Zook. Yes, it's not 2021 now, is it? Is it 2021 or is it 2022? What happened in 2022? Let's see. What happened in 2022? The actual year we're living in. They plummeted. And so the thing is, you look, ladies and gentlemen, and you have a situation where inflation is cutting into people's paychecks. Okay? Inflation is cutting into people. We have 8 to 9% inflation. 8 to 9% inflation. And the economy is shrinking. Shrinking. You have a situation where if you have inflation at 8 to 9%, and your paycheck is real wages are down 4.4%, your economy is doing terribly. Terribly. You're literally voting to lose money. If you vote Democrat, you're voting for a recession. And read the news. Don't just read, ladies and gentlemen, Trump, he's extreme. Read the news. If you read the news, ladies and gentlemen, if you pump trillions of dollars into the economy and then add that to median income without taking into account inflation, that is, we had the highest median income in 2019 when you take into account inflation without $10 trillion pumped into the economy and without a recession now. And median incomes are plummeting. And poverty has increased. Poverty has increased. Yeah, that's fine. Biden defeated Trump. Now we have recession, tactical nukes in Europe. Let's see. We have poverty. Poverty has increased. from 10% to 15%. We have a housing crisis. We have crime, homelessness through the roof. Wow, fantastic. You can't just pump $10 trillion into the economy and say, "Oh, look at the median income. It's fantastic." You pump $10 trillion. And now we have, I mean, it's right here. I mean, even if you don't agree with me, CEO, okay, we're in severe recession, layoffs, unemployment's going up. The Fed said that unemployment will go up. Here, Fed, unemployment up. Right here. Fed says unemployment will rise. Here's who economists say. Oh, job losses will fall disproportionately on vulnerable workers. Gee, I thought Democrats cared about vulnerable workers. I guess they don't. I guess they're the ones who caused the economic decline we're seeing. And I called all of this in my Federalist article. Right here. We can just go to my article right here. I called all of this. Why are Democrats hurtling? Well, that's what it picked up someplace else. Okay, so here. H.A. Goodman Federalist. So while people were saying Medicare for all, man, and you know what? We have to care about the working class. And oh, what's this? H.A. Goodman, October 8th, 2021. Why are Democrats hurtling the United States towards a stock market crash? Okay, so we now have little old me. I'm not right about everything, but I called and I said we're going to have a stock market crash, and if you're a socialist or a left-leaning pundit, or you should really care about the working class, shouldn't you? You should care about poverty going up. You should care about real wages going down 4 to 5%. You can't have household median incomes up if real wages are down and inflation's at 8 to 9%. Sorry. So those numbers are not accurate. But here, why are Democrats hurtling the United States towards a stock market crash? October 8th, 2021. Federalist wrote about this in the Federalist. Told the world Democrats didn't care. They just cared about Trump. They don't care about poverty. They care about Trump. They're obsessed. It's a maniacal obsession with Trump. They don't care about anything else but Trump. And now we have grocery shortages. Congratulations, America. You used to watch The Apprentice. Then he defeated you in 2016. Then you blamed Russia, which was a complete hoax. Then we have grocery shortages. And now the Dow is going to continue to tank. 1776, Steppenwolf, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Zook. Gifted 5H. Good one. Thank you, Zook. Zookski, thank you. I appreciate that. Zook, thank you so much. Thank you, Zook. Steppenwolf, thank you so very much. Steppenwolf, thank you so very, very much. We have a shrinking economy, ladies and gentlemen. GDP is shrinking. We have a recession, 2 quarters of negative growth. Now we're going to have 3 quarters of negative growth. and a stock market crash that we're seeing. And now Europe's in a recession too. This has nothing to do with Tucker Carlson or Fox News. It's just reality. I mean, if you don't believe me, look at Bloomberg. Look at CNN. Look, it's like they're not blaming Biden, but they're just reporting the news. Like, yeah, there's a recession and possible nuclear annihilation, and also real wages are down, and the economy is contracting, while the housing market plummets, and people lose their 401k in retirement, while there's quantitative tightening. And interest rates are going up, so you'll pay more for car loans and mortgages and credit card bills. But Trump is extreme! Trump! I mean, it's so easy to manipulate people, especially on the left. It's so easy. Steppenwolf, thank you so very, very much. Zugski, thank you so much. It's right there. I mean, it is right there. You don't have to, you don't have to, the Democrats are like, oh, Biden helped with childhood poverty. Every demographic group poverty is up now. It is literally impossible for real wages or real incomes not to have plummeted with 8 to 9% inflation. 8 to 9% inflation and a contracting economy. And if you have 8 to 9% inflation with high energy prices and food prices, I mean, food prices have gone up dramatically. That's because of Biden. That's because he went after oil companies. I'm not lying. You pretty much hear. If I'm lying, so is Bloomberg right here. Bloomberg's lying. Europe's recession may find a miracle. They're lying. Grocery shortages. CNET lying. You're lying, CNET, with your Trump and Tucker infused promoted nonsense. Grocery short butter will be hard to find. Well, at least Trump isn't tweeting. You're lying, Dow Jones Industrial liars. Lying Dow Jones Industrial Index stock market liars. Oh, what's this? Oh, look, year to date, down 20%. Oh, wow. Lying NASDAQ. What's this? Down 32%. Lying inflation numbers. Let's look at the inflation. US. We didn't have 8% inflation. Why is inflation rising right now? Whenever it's Democrats, inflation rises to 9.1% in June, and then it went to 8.3%. Oh, wow. It's actually like the core inflation went up, so rent went up. But with Trump, it's like, Trump! Household median incomes record high, poverty record low, with inflation at 2%. Real wages were up. Real wages are down now. And you didn't have $10 trillion pumped into the economy, which is kind of like makes aggregate numbers all completely skewed. And so, yeah, and the economy increased. Trump, if you want to say Trump printed money, and the economy actually increased. We had a growing economy. We had actual economic growth of 3%. We had hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. Now we have layoffs on the horizon, and I say this with all humility and love and respect. You could think I'm a buffoon clown. I don't want anyone to lose their job. I don't really care. Like if you're on the left, oh, you're H.A. Goodman. Yeah, I don't want you to lose your job. I don't want anyone to lose their job. There's going to be layoffs, and that's Biden's fault and Democrats' fault. Make sure you have like your own business, a plan, money saved. We're going to have this is nothing like everything we see now. I've been predicting, and I'm telling you, it's going to be much worse. And I say this to all the people who don't like me too. I mean, most of the people here, obviously, my channel, whatever. I'm talking about left-leaning people. If you watch this, you think I'm out of my mind. Let's just say, like, you know, make sure that you're okay in terms of income. Save money, as I beg for super chat. Steppenwolf, thank you. Save money, everybody. Even the left-leaning people who think Biden's fantastic, because you're the fantastic, the amazing awesomeness will get even more awesome as the economy plunges. Unfortunately, it's going to get worse. Okay, let's look at the positives. First president to step foot in North Korea. Huge diplomatic achievement. Doha Agreement reversed U.S. foreign policy. Zook, thank you. Thank you, Zook. Huge foreign policy achievement. Reversed two decades of failed U.S. foreign policy that Biden completely botched because he didn't want to remove Americans there. Record low in poverty, hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs, growing economy, inflation at 2%. Allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever, made the funding permanent. None of his predecessors, none of his Democratic predecessors ever did that. Let's see. He did sign prison reform legislation, First Step Act. Crime rate was lower than what it is now. We didn't have a recession under Trump until Democrats gleefully tanked the U.S. Said we have to shut everything down. We didn't have to. That was the stupidest policy. Only maniacs. It was like an agenda driven by maniacs. And we were on the upswing. Like, if we had Trump in the Oval Office, we wouldn't have had what's taking place now in Europe, and we wouldn't have had this prolonged recession. We have 3/4 now of negative growth. We did not have 3/4 of negative growth with Trump. And he renegotiated trade deals, and we were respected on the world stage. German officials were laughing at Trump, and now they're in recession. So everything the man said was true. The coolest people in the room didn't like him. Hollywood didn't like him. He was set up and framed by corrupt government officials. Okay. Bernie Sanders was cheated. So at least Trump fought back. What good did Biden do? Recession for 3/4? Food prices up, rent up, inflation. What good did this man do? What good did Biden do? I want to know it, because people are voting for people voted for Biden. They might vote Democrat in midterms. Aside from conflating democracy with what Trump accepts, give me a break. Trump doesn't have to accept anything for democracy to function. Democracy functions with different viewpoints. Deal with it, Democrats. It is what it is. Indy, exactly. We had an amazing economy with Trump. We have a terrible economy with mashed potato brains. And so, yeah, is there an agreement now? No. Less than 2. So what if it's less than 2? Well, okay. And go look at the certain million sub channels in many. On average, I'm not that far away from them. I only have 200,000 subs. Go look at some of the million sub channels. Go look at the 4 million sub channels. Do an average of what they should have and what they have. I don't have the luxury. I have almost 200,000 subs. I don't have the luxury of piggybacking on CNN, MSNBC, Jimmy Kimmel, The New Yorker, The Atlantic, Washington Post, The New York Times. I don't have the advantage. I'm going upstream. And so, yeah. Right. Again, I mean, if you want high inflation, vote for Biden. I don't know. I mean, look, there are a lot of people who would rather have high inflation, a shrinking economy, a recession than have Trump with a great economy. Gas prices up. Here, we didn't have a recession with Trump, and we didn't have a prolonged U.S. recession. The economy drops to 0.6% annual rate, and we will see another negative quarter. The negative growth. Housing recession has arrived. A U.S. housing recession has arrived. At least Trump isn't tweeting. I mean, at least Trump isn't tweeting. It's all about Trump's tweets. I mean, it's like, it's not, it's objectively, when you look at Trump, his accomplishments as president, objectively, he's a better president. Foreign policy wise, the Doha Agreement was a huge transformation in terms of U.S. Foreign policy. We got Americans out of a region of the world we were there for 20 years. And Trump forced Biden to do that. Biden would never have done it on his own. And because he botched it, those 13 Americans lost their lives. Okay, we would never have had the Doha Agreement, not even with Bernie Sanders. Because Bernie would have said, "How?" If they said jump, Bernie would have said, "How high you want me to jump?" They would have accused. There would have been a Bernie dossier. He would have, "What am I in a hotel room? What? I'm in a hotel room now." They would have gone after him just as bad. The difference is that Trump fights back, and he fights back, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's fighting back. He's being mean to us." It's like, no, you're not going to allow. You're not. They're not. He's not going to let you to torment him without him fighting back. So it's like, but anyway, no, you five. It's not a 5,000 view average. That's not. That's not exactly. If you say 5,000 view, are you looking the past 2 days or the past 2 weeks? And even if it is, it's like, so what? What does that even matter? What does that even? How is that a rebuttal to inflation at 8 to 9%? This does, it's like, that's not even hypocrisy. Like, I'm all about whataboutism, but that's not even whataboutism. That's like, I'm like, that would be a normal rebuttal would be, well, inflation was 89% with Trump. Then I would say, well, I have nothing to say. If I say inflation is at 8 to 9% with Biden, we have a terrible economy, terrible foreign policy, crime up, and then the rebuttal is, your average view count is 5,000 subs. Like, not, I mean, I have views of 20,000, 30,000, sometimes 5,000. It goes up and down. I can't control the algorithms. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things I also can't talk about because I have a conservative viewpoint on things. So there's a whole list of things that I can't talk about. I'm also not bolstered by the Washington Post and the New York Times. Okay? I'm not like, I can't just say Trump is bad and get 30,000 views for saying Trump is bad. So I go against the grain just like I did with Bernie Sanders, who was cheated and did nothing about it. And who basically votes alongside the Lincoln Project. So it's like, yeah, and I didn't join a network, so I did it all myself. So if I average, I mean, I don't know, man. I might average 5,000 views lately. I don't think I do. I can assure you this live stream will go above 5,000 views. So it's like, it's hit or miss with a segment. I just thank God I have a channel or 3 channels, and it's like, There are a million sub channels with like that on a given day I'll do better than. But again, who cares? Who cares? It doesn't really matter how many views you have or what, like how big your channel is. It matters if you could point to inflation at 8 to 9%. End of debate. Real wages down 4.4%. End of debate. Economy shrinking, poverty increasing. We didn't have this with Trump. We had growing economy, household median incomes at record highs in 2019 with inflation at 2%, and we had poverty at an all-time low since it was recorded. Poverty has increased. There is no rebuttal to that. There is no rebuttal to that. Who cares? Ah, who cares if I have 300 or 500? Hit 500 here. What does it even matter? Mashed potato brains can actually speak. He barely gets like 4 or 5,000, barely. Hidden for time. HA does it his way. Thank you. Hidden for time. Thank you. You know what? Let's put it this way. If I have to go against the grain and just point to public record sources, and if I'm not as popular as other people, that's totally fine with me. The way YouTube works, by the way, is that there are like million sub channels or 2 million sub channels that haven't uploaded, and then they'll upload and it'll just be like, you know, they'll be like, 20,000 views. It's like, well, wait, 20,000 views? You have a 2 million sub channel. That's not the way the algorithm works. But anyway, bottom line is the economy is in the tank. And I've been pretty much right about everything that I've said. In 2021, I said, Hidden for time, thank you so much. In 2021, I said the economy is going to absolutely tank. And it's tanking. It's tanking, and it's going to get much, much worse. It's going to get much, much worse. And the Democrats, the entire allure, the only reason to be a Democrat is to say, oh, I care about poor people. Well, if you care so much about poor people, then why on earth, if you care so much about poor people, then why on earth do you create the poverty? That's the issue here. That's the issue. Why did Democrats create the poverty? And that's the issue here. Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much to my super chat. I cannot thank you enough. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. To my super chat, your support is greatly appreciated. Um, I might not average 30 to 40,000 views. I try my best, but there's really no rebuttal to Biden's terrible economy. There's nothing Trump did that's worse than what Biden has already done or said. We can go through what he said also. Sir Felix, yes, I'm aware of that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your support. God bless you all, and definitely go ahead and watch the latest short on this channel. Thanks, everybody. God bless. To my super chat, thank you. I will see you tomorrow. I'll have a live stream tomorrow evening.